So gaming is a wonderfully expansive art form that allows developers to tell incredibly immersive stories within richly crafted worlds, and sometimes just flat out confuse the hell out of people, and that is certainly true in these 10 games, all of which delivered at least one deeply bewildering moment that fans have been fervently discussing ever since. So let's get the record straight, shall we? As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 obscure gaming clues that explained confusing moments. Number 10. So how strong is Cal? Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Now, power levels are admittedly a major bone of contention among fans in almost every major fantasy/superhero franchise, and Star Wars is certainly no exception. But in video games, no Star Wars character's power has been more aggressively debated than that of Jedi Fallen Order's protagonist Cal, who over the course of the game becomes a mighty Jedi Knight in his own right, yet the full extent of his powers is left relatively ambiguous. On the one hand, he didn't finish his Padawan training and couldn't put up much of a fight against Darth Vader at the end of the game, understandably so, but on the other hand, he defeated Jedi hunting Inquisitors, Ninth Sister and Second Sister, and even a Jedi Master, albeit with a little bit of help. Granted, you'll just give yourself a bit of a headache looking for much consistency amongst Force-capable characters in Star Wars, but the game does actually subtly suggest roughly where Cal is at, and the clue is, at the meditation screen, you're able to view Cal's skill tree illuminated on the floor, and if you look closely, the tree extends far off into the distance. This effectively confirms Cal's power to be at an intermediate level, accomplished considering his relatively short journey so far, but nowhere near the level of a Jedi Master. It's a smart, subtle visual indication that Cal still has much to learn, and that the recently confirmed sequel will surely put him on a path to becoming one of the most legendary Jedi in the universe. Number 9. So how did Shadow survive? Sonic Adventure 2. Now, Sonic Adventure 2 seemingly ended with the death of the newly introduced Shadow the Hedgehog, after he and Sonic entered their super states in order to defeat the final hazard. Shadow is last seen with his energy depleted as he falls towards Earth, seemingly dead. Yet while Sega's original plan was indeed for Shadow to be a one-and-done character in the game, his popularity caused him to be inexplicably resurrected in 2003's Sonic Heroes, where he's discovered in Dr. Eggman's base and has no memories of what transpired in Sonic Adventure 2. So, how did he actually survive that fatal plummet? Well, the clue is that it was briefly explained in Shadow's self-titled 2005 game, though honestly you couldn't really be blamed for missing it, given that it's hardly a fan-favourite title, even for the standards of the Sonic franchise. Players who take more than 8 minutes to defeat the game's final boss, Devil Doom, will receive a fleeting exposition dump from Eggman himself, who reveals how Shadow was revived. He says, "Everybody thought you died during that horrible incident, but I rescued you with one of my robots. You lost your memory. That's all." Award-winning dialogue right there. Now, that's not to say this is a massively satisfying explanation for Shadow's return, but it is an explanation nonetheless. So yeah, brilliant. Number 8. Why does King Richard have a French accent? Assassin's Creed. The first Assassin's Creed features an appearance from King Richard I of England, aka Richard the Lionheart, and ever since release, some fans have expressed bemusement at the fact that Richard speaks with a French accent rather than the expectedly plummy English tone. Is this simply a case of Ubisoft hiring a local French-Canadian voice actor for the job, or could there be another more sensible explanation hiding in plain sight? Well, there are actually two explanations for this, one being a clue that's suggested within the game itself, and the other bore out by real-world history. In the game, Lucy explains to Desmond that the Animus's translation system attempts to update older language to more contemporary speech, though it's also fundamentally imperfect and so doesn't always deliver fully satisfactory results with regards to accents. Assassin's Creed 2 also mentions the Animus having laggy translation software. The other reasoning is that in real life, Richard I most likely had a French accent, having spent his childhood in England but most of his life in the southwest of France. Basically, Ubisoft had all of their bases covered with this one, as strange as it definitely sounds to hear the King of England speaking this way. Number 7. Why are only girls used to collect Adam? BioShock. In the original BioShock, it's explained that Adam, the gene-altering substance present in a species of sea slugs which creates the series' mutagenic plasmids, is mass-produced by implanting said sea slugs into the stomachs of young orphaned girls, known collectively as Little Sisters. But why exactly can't young boys be exploited in the same manner? What's so special about girls? Though an audio log discusses this in the first game, no concrete answer is seemingly given. But this is actually clarified in the second game's art book, Deco Devolution. The art plot of BioShock 2, where it's revealed that there were originally plans to fully explain why boys couldn't also be used to harvest Adam. The book features concept art for male equivalents to little sisters called Little Brothers, though they were only to be featured in the game as failed experiments, as it was their aggression that prevented them from being used to gather Adam. And so it's the unique biology of the young girls that makes them the best equipped to yield the most Adam. Absolutely gross, but entirely fascinating. Number 6. Why doesn't anyone notice Agent 47's barcode tattoo? Hitman. The Hitman franchise is, of course, entirely concerned with Agent 47 pulling off the most daring of assassinations while blending into his surroundings, such that he can't be identified to the authorities. Except, wouldn't a bald-headed guy with a barcode tattooed on the back of his damn head be about the most distinctive and memorable person that you've ever met in your entire life? So how exactly does Agent 47 not have the full force of the FBI coming down upon him on a regular basis? Well, the answer is very weird and very, very meta, but trust me, it does kind of explain it. You see, in 2016's Hitman reimagining, part of the Sapienza level sees players trawl through the apartment of a man named Rocco, and in his bedroom is a computer screen with the game Hitman Sniper Challenge on it. Given that Sniper Challenge was indeed a real bonus minigame for those who pre-ordered 2012's Hitman Absolution, this Easter egg is effectively suggesting that the Hitman games do themselves exist within the Hitman universe. Hitman 2 also features an internet cafe in its Mumbai level with the menu screen for Hitman 2 Silent Assassin, seemingly confirming that there are somehow video games being developed within the Hitman universe based on Agent 47's mythic exploits. It's actually the perfect double bluff and explains why a guy with a barcode tattoo on his head wouldn't actually rouse too much suspicion walking around, because everyone just assumes that he's cosplaying as a real assassin. Weird, but also kind of genius. Number 5. Is Mario really human? Super Mario Odyssey. Super Mario Odyssey received near universal acclaim from critics and players alike, but there was one rather peculiar sticking point with many in the otherwise incredible level New Donk City. As a not-so-subtle parody of New York City, the vibrant metropolis sees Mario hanging out amid the city's hustle and bustle, namely regular humans that are just going about their day. Except the humans in this level look nothing like Mario. Their body proportions are more realistic and their faces look considerably less cartoonish. And so we have to consider whether or not Mario really is even human at all, and if he is, why the hell does he look so different from air quotes normal people? Well, for starters, the game's director confirmed pre-release that Mario is indeed human while addressing the discrepancy directly, adding, "In the world, there are many different types of people, you know," but there's an actually somewhat subtle confirmation in the game itself that Mario isn't some sort of secret alien being. Polygon quite eloquently illustrated Odyssey's many attempts to double underline Mario's humanity throughout, noting that this is the first game in the series to show Mario shirtless, nipple controversy and all, and that he can play frisbee with a dog and even take a nap if you leave him idle. It's all part of a sly campaign on Nintendo's part to ensure players aren't dissuaded of Mario's humanity, even if the presence of tall humans in New Donk City remains incredibly jarring. Number 4. What is Wanda and Mono's relationship? Shadow of the Colossus. Ever since Shadow of the Colossus was first announced, fans have speculated about the precise nature of the relationship between protagonist Wanda and the woman he's attempting to save, Mono. Many naturally assume that the two were lovers, though this isn't ever actually confirmed or really implied in the game itself. So what exactly is the nature of their dynamic? Well, a fascinating clue is provided on the game's box art. The Western box for both the original game and its 2018 remake referred to Wanda's quest as one powered by companionship and undying love, where he attempts to rescue his love, in effect implying a romantic love rather than familial like, say, his sister. But the original Japanese box art reportedly only refers to Mono as a girl, without any overt suggestion whatsoever that she and Wanda are lovers. As such, it seems that Wanda and Mono's vague dynamic was made a little more implicit for the US box art during the translation process. Given that the Japanese box art is presumably going to have been fully authorized by the game's director, we can probably defer to that as meaning that Wanda and Mono aren't romantic lovers, but simply mean a lot to each other, whether in a familial sense or as long-time friends. Number 3. Is Kasumi a synth? Fallout 4. Fallout 4's Far Harbor DLC introduces us to the character known as Kasumi Nakano, who is having an identity crisis of sorts and has come to believe that she might be in fact a synth. Kasumi cites her evidence as not feeling like she fits in at home, lacking typical childhood memories and experiencing bizarre dreams of waking up in a lab that seems reminiscent of the Institute. The game doesn't categorically confirm her identity either way, so is she a synth or not? Now, there is a lot of persuasive evidence pointing to Kasumi as almost certainly not being a synth. synth. For starters, neither the Railroad nor the Institute has any record of her as a synth, and if she dies, she doesn't drop a synth component as expected. Now, there are certainly ways to explain this evidence away. Synth records could have been tampered with, and not all synths drop a synth component upon dying, but on the balance of what we're told and what we see, it's extremely likely that Kasumi is mistaken. This isn't 100% confirmation, of course, and Bethesda themselves haven't ever clarified this one way or the other, but for anyone on the fence about Kasumi's humanity, the evidence comfortably points to her being a confused person rather than a synth. Number 2. Where's the Xenomorph Queen? Alien Isolation. As acclaimed as Alien Isolation was, fans have been speculating about the bizarre absence of the Xenomorph Queen ever since the game's 2014 release. Considering that the game features alien eggs, facehuggers, and even a cocooning sequence later on, it wouldn't really make sense that there isn't a queen on board the space station, in addition to the drone Xenomorph that we battle throughout. But there are several brief moments in the game that hint very subtly at the presence of the queen, as her distinctive scream can be faintly heard in the background numerous times. Even if you pawn this off as a mere Easter egg, the developers themselves confirmed it in the book, The Art of Alien Isolation. The book mentions that the player's trek into a xenomorph nest originally featured a cameo by the Queen, but upon realizing that it would get players' hopes up for a battle with the creature, they decided to remove it. The book also adds that the Queen is canonically on the space station during the events of the game, but simply isn't ever seen on camera. Fair enough. And number 1, what happened to Rebecca Chambers? Resident Evil. Rebecca Chambers was a major character in the original Resident Evil and ended up serving as the protagonist of the prequel game Resident Evil 0, though has been curiously absent from any canonical features since. Fans have long been wondering what Rebecca has been up to since the events of the original game and, well, whether or not she's actually alive. Now, to be fair, the answer to this one didn't actually come out of the Resident Evil video games, but it did arrive in a fairly obscure spin-off project that might have passed all but the most hardcore fans by. Rebecca made her first canon appearance in a story set after the original game in the 2017 animated movie Resident Evil Vendetta, which, given the negative response from critics and fans alike, you couldn't really be blamed for missing. But the movie's real triumph is in bringing Rebecca back to the fold, who has since retired as a cop and now works as a virology professor. Before long, she's caught in the middle of another viral outbreak and she joins forces with Chris and Leon to help save the day. Despite being infected with a new A virus, Rebecca is cured in time and makes it to the end of the movie in one piece. Now, she hasn't resurfaced in any subsequent Resident Evil media, but as of this moment, she's 100% still alive and kicking, so we can all rest a bit easier. And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 obscure gaming clues that explain confusing moments. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, where I do all of my streaming and Warhammer battle reports as well. So if you're into that sort of stuff, it'd be great to see you over there. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Hope you're treating yourself with love and respect, my friend, because you deserve all of the best things in life, and do not let anything or anyone else tell you otherwise. Now go out there and smash it today. As always, I have been Jules, you have been awesome, never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.